Okay, so let me quickly tell you what we're going to do. So we're going to have around 5 questions today. They are from mix of chapters across arithmetic. We might have questions from time and distance, time and work, and all that. Okay, so the format is going to be like this. I'm going to give you 2 minutes for each question. Okay, post that we're going to discuss how to approach the question, and anything that has to be learned in and around that question, we're going to go through that as well. Okay, so that's going to be the format for the discussion today. So let's start with this question. So you'll have 2 minutes to attempt this. If you get the answer within the 2 minutes, please post it in the chat box. Let me see who's getting it right the first. Your time starts now. We already have an answer. Ritvik has come up with an answer. 50 more seconds. Let's see if the answer is right. More and more answers are coming in. Last 10 seconds. Great. So that's time up. Let's discuss this. So there are a few things given the question. A contractor employed 50 men. So we have been given some information about the number of men involved to build a wall in 60 days. So number of days that we have got is given. After 20 days, he realized that they completed only 25% of the work. So the 3 important aspects in this question is, one is the number of men, the number of days, and the amount of work that they do. Right. So he wanted to build it in 60 days with 50 men. But after 20 days, he realized they completed only 25% of the work. So I'm going to take the 3 important parameters here. That is, one is men. The second is days. The third is amount of work that they do. So after 20 days, so when number of days is 20, when those 50 men are working, so number of men is 50, the work done is only 25%. Right? The question is, how many more men are required? So I'll have to find out how many men are required first, then I can subtract from the already existing number of men to find out how many more men are required. So let me first find out how many men should be there. To build the entire wall in a total of 45 days, already 20 days are over, right? So we're left with another 25 days. So in another 25 days, 75% of the work has to be done because already 25% is only over. So how do we solve these kind of questions? Now, this is something that I've discussed when we discuss the basic concepts of time and work. So what you can do is you can classify some of these as inputs and outputs. Okay. So generally, what are inputs? Generally, we can take time and labor as inputs. Okay, so the first column is labor column. We have number of men working, so that's an input column. Second is time, number of days, so that's going to be an input column as well. And the last one is the amount of work done. That's the only output. Once you have got that, product of all the input columns in the first case by product of all the input columns in the second case should be equal to output in the first case by output in the second case. So let's simplify this. I can cancel this. That's going to be twice. Cancel these two. It's going to be 1 by 3. So what is our question mark going to be? Our question mark will go on the other side. That's going to be 3 into 2, 6 into 20. So number of men needed is going to be 120. Already we have 50 men. The question is asking for how many more men are required. Already we have 50 men, but we require 120 men to complete this target. So we need 70 more men to complete the work. So answer is 70 for this question. Please type 1 if everybody is clear with the first question. Okay, let's move to the second question now. Okay, try this question. The time starts now. Those of you who might be watching this video later as a recorded video and not as a live video, I would suggest that you follow the timer as well. Try to plan to solve this question within the time. Okay. Or if you could solve it much before the time, you can always skip ahead and watch the solution. But try to stick to the time and solve the question within the time limit that is given in the video. If you get your answer, you can put your responses in the chat box. Okay, we've not got any answer yet. I'm going to wait for 10 more seconds. Great, let's discuss this one. Ram and Sam are running on a circular track with speeds of 18 meters per second and 12 meters per second. They start from a point P and run in the same direction. Find the difference of the distances covered by Ram and Sam when they met for the 5th time. The radius of the circular track is given. Okay, let me quickly draw the circular track to get some kind of visualization on what's happening here. Let's say this is a circular track. And it is given radius of the circular track is 210 meters. So I can find the circumference, which will give me the track length. So track length is going to be 2 into pi into radius, which is 2 into 22 by 7 into radius, which is 210. So that's going to be 2 into 22 into 30. I'm not going to simplify that. I'm going to keep it as it is. Okay. Now let's move forward and see what they're asking. We have to find out the difference in the distances covered by Ram and Sam when they met for the 5th time. Okay, first let me find out how long they will take to meet for the first time. So time taken to meet for the first time. Time taken is generally what? Distance by speed. Now here we have two moving bodies. So let's say this is a point P where two of them are moving in the same direction. One is going at 18 meters per second. The other one is going at 12 meters per second. When you have two moving bodies or more moving bodies, so how we solve these kind of questions is, for distance, you assume that the slower moving body is stationary. So if I'm going to assume that the guy who's going at 12 meters per second is not moving from here, now you calculate what is the distance that the faster guy has to travel to come back and meet him. Okay, he has to go and for one full round and come and meet him. So if the slower moving body is stationary, then the faster moving body has to go for one full round. That is the distance to be covered. Okay, so we make an assumption the slower moving body is not moving and find out how much the faster guy will have to travel. So in that case, the faster guy has to travel the track length. So distance is going to be 2 into 22 into 30. But that's an assumption, right? The slower guy is also moving. So to nullify that assumption, instead of speed in the denominator, we take relative speed. So relative speed when two moving bodies are going in the same direction is going to be difference of their speeds. So I take difference of these two speeds, which is going to be 6 meter per second. The numerator is in meter, so there is no issues with the units here. So that's going to be the time taken for the first meeting. Now, what are we supposed to find out? We have to find out the difference in the distances when they meet for the fifth time. So let me first find out time taken for the fifth meeting. Time taken for the fifth meeting is going to be 5 times the time taken for the first meeting, because we're dealing with a circular track. You can just multiply it by the number of times you want to have it. So if it is for fifth meeting, 5 into time taken for first meeting. 10th meeting, 10 into time taken for first meeting. So 5 into time taken for the first meeting. That's going to be the time taken for fifth meeting. Finally, difference in the distances covered by them. So this is going to be, let me quickly write it down. This is going to be 5 into 2 into 22 into, let's just cancel these two. Fine. So it's going to be these many seconds. If you look at the speeds, one is going at 18 meters per second, the other one is going at 12 meters per second. So per second, the difference in the distances covered will be 18 minus 12, 6. Right. So if they take these many seconds to meet for the fifth time, we can find out the distance covered as time taken for the fifth meeting into the distance that they will cover as the difference for every second. That is, they're going to have a difference of 6 meters per second. So that into 6. That should give us the answer for this question. So let's do that. That's 5 into 2 into 22. Okay, that's 6th meeting, it's 5th meeting. 22 Okay, just give me a minute. Let me just go back a little. Okay, we have to take T5 into 6. So let's solve this one. It's going to be T5, which is 5 into 2 into 22 into 5 into 6. So what is that leading us to? What is the final answer coming to? 6600. Just multiply this. It comes to 5 into 2, 10 into 30 into 22, which is 10 into 660, which is 6600 meters. Okay. So what we do first, we find out time taken for the first meeting. This is the first thing. And then for the fifth meeting, you just multiply it by 5. That will give the total time they're going to take till the fifth meeting. You just have to multiply it by their difference of speeds, which is 6 here. That should give us the answer for this question. Okay. Type 2 if you're clear with how we solved the second question. Great. Let's move to the third question. Okay, this is a question on profit and loss, slightly complicated one, but let's see how we can go about it. Your time starts now. No answers so far. I'm going to give you 10 more seconds. Okay, let's discuss this. Let's see how we can go about this question. A shopkeeper sells shirts at a discount of 20%. Additionally, if a customer purchases 3 shirts at a time, he gives a pair of socks, which costs him rupees 100. That is free apart from the discount. One day, only 2 customers visit the shop. One of them buys 3 shirts and the other buys 2 shirts. The profit earned by the shopkeeper on that day is 25%. If each shirt costs this much, then what is the markup percentage? Okay, let's see the total sale he is doing on that day. He has 3 shirts and another 2 shirts sold. So let's see what is the total cost he will incur for the sale on that day. So total CP for the whole sale that happened on that day, it's going to be 3 plus 2 because he's selling a total of 5 shirts, right? 3 plus 2. And it is given that each shirt will cost 400. So this into 400 plus that additional pair of socks that he would have given for this guy who bought 3 shirts. That's going to be 100. That is 5 into 400, 2000 plus 100. So 2100 is the total cost price he would have incurred to make the sale. It is given that the profit earned by the shopkeeper on that day is 25%. So his total selling price should be 25% more than the cost price. So I can say that's going to be 2100 into 5 by 4. 5 by 4 is 125%, right? 25% more than the cost price. So this into 5 by 4. It is also given that he sells shirts at a discount of 20%. So this is actually only 80% of the marked price. It's 2100 into 5 by 4 is only 80% of the marked price. So I can find out the marked price also. So 80% I can rewrite as 4 by 5. So marked price is going to be 2100 into 5 by 4 into 5 by 4. Now this is what? This is total marked price. Now this is total marked price for how many shirts? 5 shirts, right? So let's find out marked price per shirt. Marked price per shirt will be 2100 into 5 by 4 into 5 by 4 by 5. And what is cost price per shirt? That's already given here, 400. It's not this by 5, remember, because this includes at 100. 100 is the price for the socks, right? So we cannot do 2100 by 5. It has to be 400, which is directly given. Question is finally asking for markup percentage. How do you get markup percentage? Markup percentage is basically MP by CP into 100. So I have to take the ratio of these two, multiply it by 100. That should give me the answer for this question. So if I do that, we will get 2100 into, let's cancel 15 from here, into 5 by 4 into 1 by 4 by 400. You can get rid of these two and this. That will be 21 into 5 by 4 into 4 into 4. So that's going to be 21 into 5 is 105. 4 into 4 into 4 is 64. 105 by 64. If you have a calculator in the exam, let's say you're sitting in an exam where your calculator is allowed, like CAT, then you can just put in your calculator and get your answer. Let's say you're sitting in an exam where calculator is not allowed and you have to get the answer here. Let's see how we can go about it. I've got 105 by 64. I could approximate it to 104 by 64. Right. If I cancel by fourth table, so that will leave me with 26 by 16. So 26 by 16. So that is going to be 10 by 16 more than 100%. Right. 1 by 16 is 6.25%. So this is going to be around 162.5%, or I can say the markup is going to be 62.5%. Okay, if you do this, you'll get 1 point something. So markup is going to be 62.5% if it is 104 by 64. In this case, I have got 105 by 64, so our answer has to be slightly more than 62.5%. So in this case, we have got 64.06. That should be the answer. Now, when you solve this, you will get something like 160 something point something. That is MP by CP, right? Markup percentage, strictly speaking, has to be what? It has to be markup by CP. So ideally, I should do MP minus CP by CP into 100. But that will be too many numbers for me to deal with. That's why I'm not going for that. I'm directly going for MP by CP. Especially when you're dealing with your calculator as well, it's much easy to do with MP by CP and then subtract 100 from there to get the answer. Okay, answer for this question is 64.06. Please type 3 if you're clear with the third question. Great, let's move to the next question. Okay, we have a question on mixtures and allegations. Let's see how many can solve this. Your time starts now. expecting someone to answer this question before the time gets over. Awesome, there is an answer already. Let's see if that is right. We have another close to 40 seconds. Great, the time is up and we have a few answers. Let's see if those answers are right. Beaker A has 15% alcohol solution and alcohol solution in beaker B has 80 ml of alcohol. So in one case they have given in terms of concentration, in the other case they have given in terms of absolute volume. So let's put it down here. Beaker A and beaker B. The first one has 15% alcohol. The second one I don't know the concentration yet, but I know the volume of alcohol. It has got 80 ml of alcohol. When the two solutions are mixed, the resultant mixture contains 17% alcohol. So when I mix them, we have got 17% of alcohol. Okay, if I go through allegations here, then I can say this has to be two parts, this has to be some parts. I don't know the value of this yet. Let's go forward and see. If the volume of B is 2/3 the volume of A, so volume of B is 2/3 the volume of A means we are mixing them in the ratio 2:3, right? So we're mixing them in the ratio 2:3, which means I should have this in the ratio 3:2 because B is 2/3. So volume of B is 2/3 of volume of A, which means volume of B by volume of A should be in the ratio 2/3. So A is to B should be 3:2. So in this ratio they should have got mixed. If I look at the difference of these two, it's exactly coming to 2. So difference of this and the value that should have come here should be equal to 3. 15 is less than 17. So this also cannot be less than 17. In that case, you won't get 17 here. So it has to be more than 17. So 17 plus 3, this has to be 20%. Now the 20% is 80 ml, which is 1/5 is 80 ml. So 1/5 is 80 ml means total, that is these two parts, whatever it is, should be 5 into 80 ml. So that is 400 ml. So these two parts totally is going to be 400 ml. So these three parts should be what? 600 ml. Question is asking for combined volume of the mixture. So that should be sum of these two, which should come to 1000 ml. So answer is 1000 for this question. Let me quickly take you through what we did in this question. They gave us these values. They gave us the percentage in one. After mixing, what is the percentage and in what ratio they are getting mixed indirectly, saying that volume in the beaker is 2/3 and all that. So once you get these three values, we know the difference of these two will be here and difference of these two should be here. This value should be greater than 15 because you already got a value which is less than, this value should be greater than 17 because you already got a value which is less than 17. So greater than 17 means just add 3 to 17, we'll get 20, which is 1/5. So 1/5 was alcohol and that is 80 ml. So total should be 5 into 80, 400. That is two parts. So three parts should be 600. Please type 4 if you're clear with how we solved this question. Awesome. Let's move forward to the last question for today's session. Okay, this is a question on escalators. Try solving this one. Okay, I'm starting the timer now. We already have an answer. Okay, time's up. Let's discuss. Escalator questions are considered one of the most complicated questions in time and distance. Let's see how we can deal with this. Kiera and Vanaja walk up an escalator, a moving escalator. Kiera takes 3 steps for every 2 steps taken by Vanaja. Kiera gets to the top after taking 50 steps and Vanaja gets to the top after taking 40 steps. If the escalator were turned off, how many steps Vanaja would need to climb to reach the top? Basically, they're asking how many steps will be there in the escalator when it is turned off. Okay. Now, when someone is going up the escalator or down the escalator, the total number of steps that they have to cover is going to be split between the person and the escalator, right? Partly the person has to cover, partly the escalator has to cover. If the person is going at an extremely high speed, a huge part of it will be covered by the person. Very less of it will be covered by the escalator. If the person is not moving at all, then the escalator will end up covering the entire set of steps. So total steps we can take as total steps in the escalator. We can take it as steps covered by the man or the person plus steps covered by the escalator, right? If the man or the person is extremely quick, a huge chunk of it will be covered by the man and very less will be covered by the escalator. If the man is not moving at all, then the escalator will end up covering the entire set of steps. Now, in Kiera's case, it is given Kiera gets to the top after taking 50 steps. So I can say in Kiera's case, 50 steps were taken by Kiera and some steps were taken by the escalator. So how am I going to get an expression for that? I'm going to take it as speed of escalator into time taken by Kiera for 50 steps. Okay, because for that duration only the escalator was also moving, right? So 50 plus speed of escalator into time taken for Kiera to take 50 steps. That will be the total number of steps that escalator would have covered in Kiera's case. Now when I do the same for Vanaja's case, which is going to be equal to total steps, so I can say that is also going to be equal to 40 plus, because Vanaja took only 40 steps. Speed of escalator into time taken by Vanaja to take 40 steps. Now, something is given regarding their speeds. It is given Kiera takes 3 steps for every 2 steps taken by Vanaja. So I can say speed of Kiera by speed of Vanaja. Kiera takes 3 steps for every 2 steps of Vanaja. This should be in the ratio 3:2. So I can say speed of Kira can be directly taken as 3x. This can be taken as 2x. Now let's come to this part. Time taken for Kira to take 50 steps. We have already got Kira speed is 3x. So I could replace this by 50 by 3x. Similarly, time taken by Vanaja to cover 40. We know speed of Vanaja is 2x. So I could replace this by 40 by 2x. Now let's simplify it further. I've got 50 and 40 there. So there'll be 10 more this side. That should be equal to, let me take this on the other side. I can take SE by X separately. SE by X. And then inside the bracket, what will I have? So I have 40 by 2 and this will go on the other side. So it will be 20 minus 50 by 3. Right? Let's simplify that. So we will have 10 is SE by X. This is going to be 60 minus 50 by 3. That is going to be 10 by 3. So I can cancel these to 10 and this 3 goes on the other side. That tells us SE by X will be equal to 3. Once you get SE by X is equal to 3, either you can go and substitute in the original equation that you had on the left side or the original equation we had on the right side. We will get the total number of steps because these two expressions lead us to total number of steps. Let's do that. So here if I'm going to substitute, it is going to be 50 plus SE by X is 3. So 3 into, I have 50 by 3. So if I cancel these two, 50 plus 50, we will get total number of steps as 100 steps. 100 is the answer for this question. Please type 5 if you're clear with how we solved this question. Yes. Now, something very interesting to notice here is Kira takes 3 steps for every 2 steps by Vanaja. Now, Kira takes 3 steps because her speed is more. She takes more steps here, right? Which kind of goes against the grain because when speed is more, it looks like she will take less steps. But the thing is, as the speed is more, that person will end up covering a greater share of the total number of steps. If the speed is less, that person will end up covering a lesser share of the total number of steps. The rest will be taken up by the escalator. So that's why if the person is going at, let's say, an infinite speed, then all the steps will be covered only by the person. Escalator will cover 0. If the person is not moving at all, then the escalator will cover the entire set of steps. So that's why Kira at a greater speed is covering more number of steps as her share and the escalator is covering a slightly lesser share. Does anyone want me to repeat this question? See, the funda is very simple. This is the most important part. Total steps, right? Let me quickly repeat this. Please listen if you are slightly confused in the first round. Total steps is going to be steps taken by the man plus steps taken by the escalator. Now that's the most important concept in these kind of questions. Total steps, a part of it will be covered by the man, the rest of it will be covered by the escalator. If the man is going at an extremely high speed, he might end up covering all the steps. He has to go at an infinite speed theoretically for that. So if the person is going at an extremely high speed, the person will cover all the steps even before the escalator can cover one step. But if the person is going at a speed of 0, then he is just going to stand on the escalator. The escalator is going to move him completely. So all the steps will be covered by the escalator. So that's the most important aspect here. Okay. Now, it is given that Kira gets to the top after taking 50 steps. So Kira's share is 50. The rest of it should have been covered by the escalator, whatever is the total number of steps that has to be covered. So 50 plus steps covered by escalator, that will give me total number of steps in the whole escalator, right? When the escalator is switched off, you will see those many steps there. I can also do a similar expression for Vanaja. Vanaja took only 40 steps, the rest were covered by the escalator. So each of these two expressions, the one on the left and one on the right, should be equal to total number of steps that you will see when the escalator is switched off. Okay. Now, I cannot have these many variables here. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get rid of time taken by Kiara for 50. Now, what did I do here? This is actually total number of steps taken by the escalator, but I cannot have too many variables. So what I did is I took speed of escalator into time taken by Kiara for covering 50. That will give you the total steps taken by the escalator. Speed of escalator is in terms of steps per second here. Okay, SE is in terms of steps per second. So steps per second by the escalator into number of seconds that Kiara took to cover 50 will give total number of steps taken by the escalator. Similarly, steps per second by the escalator, which is speed of escalator, into time taken by Vanaja to take 40 steps will give you total number of steps taken by the escalator in that case. So that's why we got these two. And TK50 is time taken by Kiara for covering 50. It is also given when Kiara covers 3 steps, Vanaja will cover 2 steps. So I can take the speed of Kiara as 3x, speed of Vanaja as 2x. That will help me to get rid of these 2 variables and have just 1 variable in terms of x. Okay, 50 steps at a rate of 3x, so 50 by 3x. 40 steps at a rate of 2x, so 40 by 2x. That is the time taken by Kiara and Vanaja respectively. Now it is basic algebra. You take SE by x outside, you will get finally SE by x as 3. You come and substitute that either in the left hand side expression or the right hand side expression. Both of them are leading us to total steps. That will give us the answer as 100. So the key point here to remember is this aspect. Number of steps is divided between the number of steps that the person takes and the escalator takes. You get an expression for that, and then from there on you can match up things to get the answer. I hope everybody is clear with this now. Please type 5 if everybody is clear with the 5th question. Great. So the key to solving questions quickly. See, I have been asked a good number of times by students like how to improve my speed. How to improve my speed in Quant. Now, how do you think you can improve your speed in Quant? I've even seen advices where people say you should be able to calculate extremely fast, right? So you should calculate extremely fast. Means these kind of calculations, 25 into 47, you should be able to do these calculations extremely fast. You should be able to do 99 into 96 extremely fast. All that is not required. All that is not required. When you will become extremely quick is when your concepts are crystal clear. That's when you will become extremely quick. At least for an exam like CAT, you cannot get shortcuts for questions. You cannot beat the speed in terms of these kind of calculations. You can only beat in terms of clarity in concepts. When concepts are extremely clear and you have done good amount of practice that you don't have to think too much about what is given in the question, you will become fast. So clarity of concepts and practice is what will give you the speed. It's not these kind of calculations. Okay. Now we will have these kind of practice every day. So every day we will have. So this is a very short practice just to give you a sense of the difficulty level that you can get in CAT and to keep you guys motivated and keep you guys going. So I've taken very less number of questions, just 5 questions, because the idea is not to discuss a huge volume of questions, to discuss quality questions. So we are going to have these kind of sessions. So tomorrow we will have a session on algebra and so on. So every day we are going to have a revision session. So I will pick up topics like arithmetic or algebra, or we will pick up a solid DI set for some days. We could pick up paragraph jumbles, paragraph summary, reading comprehension, so on. So each day we will take up one of this and we will discuss. Please give your feedback if you found the session useful, and please like this video so that it reaches good number of people if you found that the video was helpful to you.